Not seeing myself on the thing.
Saying that it's not.
Welcome all. Thank you for joining. I've asked if people will please
I'm tired.
hearing a few people on their cameras, but welcome to from NCORE 2025 proposal submission for our conference, which will be held in New York City, May 27th through May 31st of
I used to
2025.
have sound issues too.
My name is Justin Links.
Justin, you're muted.
He got muted as well, yeah.
Yeah, looks like I got muted too. Thank you. If I was muted when I said so, my name is Justin Links. I am the program administrator for the conference. And I'm pleased to have an opportunity to share with you about the proposal submission process, answer any questions you might have, and convince you that we are in fact looking for you to share what you have to share with the community. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I'm going to go through some information for you. And then afterwards, I'll hold a Q&A for as long as people have questions. I just want to be mindful that we're recording this session so that we can evergreen the parts that we can for people who are unable to join. And again, we're holding another session after a break for the holiday. So if you're wanting to join again, you're welcome to. And so please let me get started with the slideshow. Okay, so I'm going to cover submission guidelines, deadlines, some information about how proposals are reviewed, some tips on submission success, some frequently asked questions, contact information for questions, and then we'll answer any of these more broadly as we go when you're ready to ask questions. So again, the event will be May 27th through May 31st in New York. We'll be holding a conference in Midtown Manhattan at the Hilton and the Sheraton in Midtown Manhattan. Focus primarily is diversity, education, inclusion, social justice, and higher education. More broadly, race, ethnicity, sovereignty issues. And also, we are also opening focus to environmental justice as well. We're asking for proposals that align with the conference scope. We'll go over that a little bit more. It will include session title, description, and learning objectives. Ask you to identify who you're hoping to reach with your session. Then you'll need to make sure that your proposal description is limited to 2,500 characters. Some people have a challenge with that, but please know that going in when you're getting ready to submit your proposal, that it needs to be concise to that level because that's what the platform we use allows. And then if you have submission slides, we encourage you to have those ready when you submit. Proposal submission deadline is December 13th. I will say that we do offer people the opportunity for an extension. You can email ncore@ou.edu to request an extension. We usually extend for a week on request, mindful that things happen in people's lives. Planning to send out acceptance notifications after in the new year, February. Scheduling notification will happen shortly thereafter. We'll send request confirmations for people to accept selection by the 7th of March, and then we'll notify alternates if we have additional slots come open on the 12th, etc. We do require presenters to be registered at one of the conference rates. We do ask our presenters to comply with accessibility presentation guidelines, universal design. And then we also ask presenters to bring their own computers if applicable, and to note that the connection to audiovisual equipment, particularly this projector, which usually has the sound system connected into it, is an HDMI connection. And so we ask you to bring your adapters as well. Here's what is scored for proposals, and I'll pull up the session proposal, just kind of review what we're asking for you to submit. But the evaluation criteria is we're asking evaluators to review your description, your timed agenda, your learning outcomes, presenter alignment with respect to the topic and the learning provided. And then we're asking for presentation materials. This is the first time we're asking for people to provide slides in advance. I want to say two things about that. I might say more, but the two things I want to say is that the reason we're asking that is to give us a better sense of if your planned content aligns with the amount of time you're asking for, with your description, with your learning outcomes. And sometimes we've seen some uneven presentations. We want to look at those materials if they're available. The second thing is that I'm not requiring those to be submitted. Actually, I'm going to say three things about it. It's not required to be provided this year. I want to give people a chance to use that as we can. We'll see how it helps us. We're going to give people feedback. And oh my gosh, what was the third thing I was going to say? That's interesting. The third thing is that people will be allowed to change their slides as needed as they approach the conference dates, because people change their presentations, and of course presentation materials change as well. And then of course to say that feedback will be provided or may be provided, and then if you're not selected, the feedback can be requested as well. Tips for successful submission: looking for current and emerging issues in higher education. It's a higher education focused conference. Although please don't be discouraged if you have a topic that doesn't have a direct higher ed focus written into your proposal. We understand that these issues are not always higher education grounded, although the people that come to the conference generally are in a higher education context. So these issues that we work with are going to happen in that context. People who come to our conference are looking for how to apply learnings around the focus of the conference to their work and to their communities that they serve. And that goes in with highlighting the practical applications, how your work can be applied. We ask that you will want to be clear and concise in your information providing, especially understanding that that you can only have 2,500 characters for your session description. There's more information, more space available for the timed agenda and for some more support materials such as slide presentations that you provide. Last is that we ask you to proofread your submission. The session's descriptions are going to go, the session description will be publicly facing once it's accepted. And so you'll want to ensure that it's reading as you wish for it to. One of the things that a mentor of mine has suggested is that AI can be a good tool in that, so long as you're ensuring that what it's doing or what it's providing back to you is still in your voice. But it can help with catching things that you might not with your eyes. We kind of get used to our information. Couple of frequently asked questions before we go into, well, I'm going to show some information about the proposals. Frequently asked questions: how do I submit a proposal? We ask you to go through the online submission portal. I'll show you where that is. It's on the NCORE website. Can you submit multiple proposals? You are welcome to. We ask that they be unique proposals, not same proposal on with a second or third different track provided. We ask that the same proposal isn't submitted again. Are there session formats? Yes, we are requesting presentations, workshops, and panels. Those format requests are actually listed on the proposal submission portal. Then if you have questions, the quickest way to reach us is NCORE@ou.edu. Questions will be answered through there or forwarded to appropriate staff to answer them. And then, of course, please visit our website, ncore.ou.edu. I think that is it for the slides. Okay, so this is the NCORE website call for presentations. If you go to ncore.ou.edu, the call for proposals is below the banner. You click on the call for proposals. And you can read the information about where our scope, focus, suggested areas of emphasis. All of these areas in the suggested areas of emphasis, the personal practices, race, ethnicity, sovereignty, power, and marginalized identity. These are examples of the scope of the conference. I was reviewing this before the presentation today for me presenting to you. I found that I felt that I wanted to put something about monoracism into the suggested area of emphasis. And I say that to say that the scope of NCORE is very broad in the exploration of human identity and systems of oppression and understanding across difference. And so encourage you to understand that although it may not be listed, it is a part of. And if you have suggestions for what we might list with the suggested area of emphasis, please send it to us at our contact. We're happy to consider and put up, as always, open to enlarging and making more inclusive. If you would like to submit a proposal, you click on submit a proposal, and it'll bring up our proposal portal on the event site that we use. The platform is Cvent. When you click to submit a proposal, which happens in this banner area of NCORE 2025 surrounded by city, or if you scroll down below the information, and this is a repetition of information on the NCORE website, you can click submit a proposal button down at the bottom, which I'm going to do because I'm there. If you don't have an account with Cvent or haven't attended NCORE, it's likely going to ask you to create account, which is below the login button. And so if you haven't done that before, welcome to NCORE. We've been using this platform for a few years. And so you'll make an account, which is super easy. It just asks for your first name, last name, and email address, and to make a matching password, and then you will be in. I already have one, so I'm going to log in real quick. And I have not had any submissions yet. And if you have any submissions that are partial, they'll show up below your My Submissions window. And I'm going to click Submit a Proposal just to look at the information as it's displayed. And so you see the site is request a session title to ask if you would like to submit as a concurrent breakout session, which is a live presentation, or if you'd like to submit a poster. If you select the concurrent breakout session, you can down toward the bottom say if you're not selected, you would like to present it as a poster. And then you can select any of these formats that apply to your proposal, or select another proposal if these formats, whether it's, I'm not gonna, if y'all don't mind, I would rather not read all of these out loud because that gets challenging for me. So that we have the session formats, and then we have the session tracks, which selecting the session track will kind of guides us to a set of reviewers. And so we have these main areas of the conference, but there's some broad general categories in here. We'll receive these off a little bit, read these off a little bit. First one we have is accessibility in the academy, transforming institutions through disability justice and anti-ableism. Second category is athletics in the academy. Third category is diversity officer, executive diversity officer, and executive leadership. Fourth category is faculty interest and needs for people that are in the professoriate connected to it. And then we have one that's around human resources focused, supporting professional staff on campuses. And then our two main general categories was around intersectionality, social location, and power, focus on identities and focus on discussions around these issues. And the other generalized category is race, ethnicity, sovereignty, and social justice in higher education. If you feel that your proposal doesn't tightly or neatly fit into these other more specified categories, I welcome you to choose either one of these generalized categories that best fits in your assessment. And we'll say that the highest number of proposals come through those general categories. We have plenty of reviewers typically to support, although I'm going to make a plug for you to apply to be a reviewer as well. And then we have the student affairs and affiliated professional type proposals track. And then we ask for proposals from that are student led, student leadership focused, student interest focused. And then we have a focus on transnational, international issues students. Then we ask for you to assess the complexity of the session, and we give a basic description of those complexities. And if you feel like those don't neatly apply, you can say they're for everyone. And then we ask you to select the session duration. And these can be either sessions of 75 minutes, 90 minutes, or 3 hours. You're able to select all of these. I encourage you to select ones that apply to what learning you feel you can deliver. For instance, because 3 hour sessions, there aren't as many 3 hour session slots as there are for 90 minutes and 75 minutes. And so if your content you would like to present as a 3 hour session, please consider selecting 90 minutes as well. That will increase your chances of us being able to program you. And also I might have some hidden 2 hour slots that I might be able to offer you. And I want to say that, in terms of the duration, it's probably a good time to say that we'll be selecting in the neighborhood of 225 to 200. I'll just say in the neighborhood of 225 proposals for presentation. It may be more, it's likely to be more. And the majority of those are, I would say 80% of those are the 75 minute, 90 minute range time slots. And those are interchangeable equally in number. Then we ask you to do the session room set. We ask you to consider this as well. If you have a preference for round tables, please know that we have a limited number of rooms that we're able to set for round tables for group learning exercises, just because of the nature of the size of the community and limitations of space in the facility. We have around 45 meeting rooms, but we also last year had around 5,500 participants. And so please consider that we might not be able to honor your request for rounds. We do say that you can say, I can't present this if I can't do it in rounds. And so we'll be mindful of that. If your proposal is selected and you don't have a flexible room set, there's a likelihood that we'll do our best and reach out to you if we're not able to accommodate based on the number of people that we selected in rounds. That's might be more information than you wanted about room sets. And then here's the part where if the proposal isn't selected as a session presentation, you're welcome to ask us to consider you for a poster presentation. We'll say that there are vast number of poster presentation opportunities. So this is a good way to get to the conference. If you're not selected to present a session to share your information, we sure love to see it. And the poster area this year will be digital displays, which means that you'll be able to include slides to share with people. It's a pretty vibrant learning area. And so I'd encourage you to select yes if it's something that fits and you would like to share with us that way if proposals are not selected. And then we're just asking if you would like us to consider this presentation for other events that NCORE platform hosts, such as webinars or the fall event, which just concluded, which is Connections. And then if your proposal focuses on social work associations do award CEU credits for presentations, and so you can select that if it makes sense to. And then here's the part where we ask you to include what learning outcomes people will receive through your sharing of your presentation. We require you to share at least 2, and please share additional learning outcomes up to 4 learning outcomes. And be mindful if you have additional learning outcomes to consider. Perhaps if the focus of your learning can be altered to focus people more into more robust 4 learning outcomes versus more. Then this is the area for the session description that allows 2,500 characters. And then we simply ask you to really focus, as you're considering what your session description is, what you consider, what your agenda, what you're sharing for your support pieces for your presentation, look for how they align with each other. But also share a description that you are mindful that it's public facing, that you're appealing to a community that has a lot of choices for their presentation. So you want to make sure you're reaching an audience you would like to reach. So be specific as needed, be general as needed. Be really specific about what the learning outcomes, that really helps people choose the session. And then we're asking for people to provide a timed agenda so that we have a sense of how you're going to use your time. And if it's an effective use of time to reach learning outcomes. And of course, we'll compare that with presentation documents if you provide them. Session bibliography, we're looking for what's your grounding, scholarly grounding of the work you're sharing. Or other educational philosophies, other knowledges. We ask you to share that as it makes sense to. We understand there's a lot of ways of knowing, that are generated outside the academy, and those are fairly scored and reviewed. Proposal document formats are very numerous. You can see those below the upload file. We allow text, Excel, Word, JPEG even. So if you want to share an image of your presentation information, movie, GIF, sorry, I'm laughing. Is it a GIF or a GIF? Zip file, etc. So there's a lot of number of ways to share presentation documents. And of course, if you have any questions on sharing these, you can email us. I'm going to stop here. It says save and continue. The rest of the information is about presenter contact information, your biography, your other contact information. Except to say that I would like to ask you in your biographies to make clear what you do in the world, whether it's connected to an institution or another human project that is relative to your presentation particularly, because we are asking our reviewers to consider if the presenters align with the topic that they're asking to present on. And so that, I believe, covers what I wanted to formally share before we open this up. I will lastly add that for NCORE 2024, we received twice as many proposals as we had ever received. And the number was 1,400 proposals, of which over 200 were selected for presentation. And so you can imagine that that's a pretty competitive environment for proposal submission, but don't be discouraged by that, because you have something to share, we are sure. And also, if for whatever reason your proposal isn't selected, you'll learn from that. But also you have an opportunity to select if you can present this as a proposal session, and perhaps even be mentored more by the NCORE community to make a successful proposal submission in the future. So there are many benefits to submitting, even if you aren't selected for a presentation. And so on the NCORE call for proposals website, at the bottom of the page, it says apply to review proposals. If you click that, it'll take you to our form stack form, very simple form generally. We're just asking for contact information. We ask you to tell us about yourself, ask you to share a resume or personal statement. We're just looking for in the resume or personal statement something that connects you to areas of knowledge that help us assign you to a track. Then we of course ask you to tell us which track you would prefer to review around, if there's an identity track. This identity track really isn't a track, but there are some proposals that speak to swaths of humanity in terms of identity. And we want to assign that to appropriate reviewers as well, as we're able to. And so it's a really pretty short form. We really ask you to consider it. We certainly need it, need you. So please. Well, I think we did it. Thank you to everyone. Really appreciate you again, and look forward to your proposals, and hopefully to your joining us in New York. It will be a consequential conference, I am sure, and look forward to seeing what comes of it. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Be well, please.